Welcome back to the Turk 72 channel. As we approach the anniversary of 9/11, I think it's important to talk about the possible consequences of the lax border policies, or the lack of a secure border, and having lax policies on immigration status. I'm sure many of you have seen pictures of the border fence being wide open, or perhaps covered by a few pieces of barbed wire, or it being completely open over a little river that's about 2 feet deep that people can easily wade across. Unfortunately, there are more consequences than just someone stealing a social security number and stealing jobs from a native-born American. There are also gang activities and things that are far more malicious. Right now, there are extra precautions being taken place in El Paso, where there is a military base there, and other power plants and other assets. And hopefully that's with good reason, and hopefully they will be enough. So as we've seen it in examples of the 2 Fort Hood shootings, where just one man with one pistol can cause a lot of damage. Okay, and this is at a military base. And if you haven't seen my Fort Hood video, I will try and put a link to it below if I have time, but it was something I'm pretty passionate about, and I think it is my longest video. But then we had the second Fort Hood shooting, which kind of got blown over in the media by the Bundy Ranch situation. But again, the second Fort Hood shooter, Ivan Lopez, still just had a single pistol, and he was still able to kill a few people and I believe injure 14 or 15 individuals at a military base. So imagine what a more coordinated effort could happen. These Fort Hood shooters were solitary individuals. They seemed to be somewhat irrational. They didn't really have the best plan, and yet they were able to injure and or kill many people. Imagine what a group of perhaps 5 men with rifles and sidearms could do to a military base, or even a power plant, or a nuclear facility. Again, nuclear facilities have been there is a tremendous problem with waste disposal, and they keep collecting these used fuel rods in these cooling pools, and they overload the capacity, and these things are very vulnerable. And incidentally, these cooling pools do not have the same seismic standards as the rest of the plant, and this is happening all over to pretty much all the nuclear plants, because there really is no solution for long-term storage that has been established yet, and yet these plants keep being recertified to operate. So that's just an example. I mean, what do you think would happen if coordinated effort of a small group of men were to attack our critical infrastructure? Unfortunately, I think the likelihood of an attack in the near future is going to be evident pretty soon. Maybe not in this country at first, perhaps in London or in France, where they do not have a culture of armed civilians at the ready. But we will see. So I think there are many dangers that can happen from a lax border and from a loose immigration or refugee policy. I'll give you an example that is of what happened when there was the war in Somalia in the 90s. President Clinton arranged for thousands of Somali refugees to go to the Midwest and to areas of Minnesota and Michigan. The reason this was done is because of the high network of churches that are in this area that would be able to house these people, put them in education programs, and yes, put them on welfare. Well, I think the results were a little bit mixed, to say the least. There is a group of Somalis called the Somali Gang or Somali Mafia. The names have evolved over the years, but there was a group of 29 Somali gang members that ran a human trafficking ring and other things for a period of 10 years, unmolested. In London, there are areas that are pretty much, no-go for non-Muslims. There are communities where they are things called Sharia patrols that harass people who are drinking beer or dressed a certain way. So I don't think this can happen in America if we have a significantly lax policy on immigration and refugee status. Again, it's more than just people stealing Social Security numbers and jobs. These are people who are looking to establish a criminal empire and to rape and pillage the honest Americans. So let me know what you think. Let's hope that nothing significant happens to our country on the anniversary of 9/11. And as always, stand for liberty and stay vigilant. It's Turk 72 out.